Hello and welcome to episode 2.5 of the Tea and Trinket podcast. My name is Katie. You can find me on Instagram as Tea and Trinket. I am a crafter and the dyer behind Tea and Trinket yarns. Today I'll be talking about finished knitted objects, works in progress, 2020 plans for Tea and Trinket podcast, and 2020 plans for Tea and Trinket yarns. To answer a few quick questions on top of the episode, yes, this is episode 2.5. I had recorded episode 2, but due to my lack of skill in editing, it became too complicated of a project, and then as my health got worse, I just didn't have the time to edit it. I do plan on releasing episode 2 as a bonus episode, but I don't have a timeline for that yet, so stay tuned. Also, the reason for my absence in general has been that worsening health, and I'm still working on managing it, but I now have more time and resources to devote to the podcast as well as Tea and Trinket yarns. I'll be talking about that a little bit more later on in the episode. And yes, I am referring to my notes because it's been a while and I need more practice. All right, let's start off with finished objects. Last time we talked, I had talked about the jelly roll socks from Mara Catherine Briner. I had been working on a pair using Plymouth Yarn Company's Splash 100 in the crayon colorway, and using contrast colors from Knitted Wit in their little gumballs, their mini skeins, in a pink and a blue. Unfortunately, I have already given those away as a gift, so I do not have them with me. If I can get a picture, I will post that in the next episode. I just didn't want to leave you wondering, well, whatever happened to those socks? Because we always wonder what happens to our socks. Always. Alright, next on finished objects, I have the Sockhead Slouch Hat by Kelly McClure, and for the pattern, the stitch pattern that I used, it is from the Cranberry Biscotti Socks by Elizabeth Sullivan, and this is the hat. So as you can see, it's very different from what the normal sockhead hats look like. They are a stockinette slouchy hat with a really long brim, and mine still has somewhat of a long brim, and it is still pretty slouchy, but it has a very different texture. Let's see if I can... Yeah, there's a little bit of that stitch definition. Alright, so for the yarns in this one, we have Debbie Bliss Rialto Luxury Sock in color number 9. The very light, creamy mint color is Malabrigo Yarns Mashita in the water green, and it's a little bit hard to see it amongst the contrasting colors, but this very beautiful mossy green is Knitted Wit single fingering in the cedar colorway. It is my personal favorite. I try to use it in as much as possible. So, yay, new lightweight hat to wear in the winter. Next on the list, I have slippers, which I need to take off of my feet because it is cold, because it is winter. So pardon my random slippers. Here they are. The outside yarn is Plymouth Yarn Company in their Encore Worsted. I do not know the name of the colorway. I was given the ball of yarn as remnants from a friend's project. And the contrasting lining is also unknown. It was given to me as remnants from the same friend, but it's this just really fun, like, subtly striping color, and it has a little bit of that cranberry in it as well. I enjoyed making them. There's no particular pattern that I used. I just kind of improvised it. I went from the toe up on the outside worked the heel with this little tag so that it stayed on my foot, and then continued on the inside, connecting it as I went all the way back down to the toe and Kitchener did shut. So I'm going to put these back on my feet because, again, winter, it's cold. Let's see, so next on my finished objects, I have the Skimmer Socks Revisited by Sheila Toy Stromberg. These are knitted with Knitted Wit merino fingering in unicorn eggs and Anzula squishy in petunia. No, I am not receiving any sort of commission from Knitted Wit, though if you want to send me yarn, I won't deny your yarn gift. I love Knitted Wit a little bit too much. Their yarn is just yummy and the colors are great. So these are the Skimmer Socks Revisited. The bright pink is the petunia from Anzula, and then this fun little polka dot speckles in the rainbow colors are the unicorn eggs color from Knitted Wit. So yeah, just some nice little socks to go in flats. I've been doing a lot of cleaning those, so I don't currently own any flats, so I wear them inside my slippers. So the next two objects, and those are the last two that I'm showing today, are both gifts that I stole from my boyfriend's sock drawer. He has not worn them yet. The first pair is just a vanilla pair of socks. These are made from Knitting Fever in their Painted Desert yarn, and the colorway is Campfire. It's color number 6. So they don't quite match completely, but they look really nice together. The contrast toes and heels are Barocco Comfort Sock in the True Red colorway. And lastly, I have these socks that I made for my boyfriend. These are made out of Choppy boots. I think the colorway is called Autumn Leaves, but I really enjoyed working with this yarn. It's definitely a little bit harder on my hands than other yarns I've used for socks because there's something like a 40% cotton content. So hopefully that means they will be durable and hard wearing because my boyfriend works in a warehouse and I can't imagine him being too kind to his socks, though somehow his socks from last year seem to be lasting pretty well without any holes or too much wear. And he did get quite a bit of use out of them during the summer. He has insisted upon only wearing his rainbow colored hand knit socks when he's wearing shorts because how else is anyone supposed to be able to see them? I question his fashion choices, but I am appreciative of his loyalty. Alright, I have finished other things since talking to you in September, but they either A, need to have the ends woven in, B, desperately need blocking, or C, I gave them away already and the photos I have are not great. For the ones that just need ends woven in and blocking, I will be revisiting them in next month's episode. Let's move on to works in progress. Alright, again, coming back from episode 1, we have the dentist sock. Let's see, the dentist sock is designed by Heather Sebastian, and I am doing them toe up using Wendy D. Johnson's toe up socks with gusset and slip stitch heel. Okay, so the first one is done, and I have all of my little markers showing me where to do different steps for the second one. But wait, there's more. As of this morning, the second one is now to the point where I am increasing for the gusset. I am 2 increase rows into the gusset. I know, you're really impressed. So the dentist socks. They'll get done someday, I'm sure. Alright, and the yarn for that is Froilig Wool in Maxi Ringle in color number 7709. Now this is a discontinued yarn, as I have mentioned before. Unfortunately, they won't be making it anymore, which is really sad because I'm really enjoying working with this yarn. It has a very similar feel to Opal and Regia and Patons. Maybe a little bit softer than any of those, but it's a really nice yarn and I'm getting a lot of use out of it for these socks. Alright. Next for work in progress, mentioning Patons, I have a pair of Paton's Kroy. I have a pair of Paton's Kroy Socks FX in the Cascade Colors colorway, and it is in my Ginger You Pokemon Socks bag that I won in a giveaway, and I still use this all the time. I often empty out whatever projects in it so that I can put whatever I'm currently working on in there instead. So I am working on these in tandem, and so for those of you who don't know what that means, it means that I knit the toe of one, I knit the toe of the other. I knit the foot of one, I knit the foot of the other. I start the gusset of one, I have not yet started the gusset of the other. So since this one is farther along, I will use it for demonstrative purposes. Now the front of the sock has these little 2x2 rib sections just on either side of the foot. I took the idea from Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel Speaks podcast. I thought it was brilliant, and again, I still need hiking socks for when I'm healthy enough to go hiking again, so having them fit a little bit better sounds like a great idea. And the dentist socks are taking forever, partially because of the ribbing on the front and how complicated that got. So yeah, there's the front, and on the back I have this 1x1 rib in the arch, and that is just giving it a little bit more of a snug fit right there around the arch. It keeps it from being too loose right there, and I'm hoping that it will help just make it more comfortable to walk around and hike in. I am working up to a Fleagle heel, and I'm about this far along. I've already marked my center of the sole of the foot so that I can properly place my decreases once I start working on the short rows for the heel. So yeah, Paton's Kroy Socks. Next, and I believe last for the works in progress that I'll be showing you today, in my Fringe Supply Bag that my lovely friend Melissa was kind enough to give me because she knows my favorite color, and yes, I love. I have the Silver Forest sweater by Jennifer Steingass. And I will show it to you first. It is a biggin. Alright, so here it is. It is scrunched up because it is on needles. I opted to go with the I opted to go with the rolled collar instead of the ribbed collar. And I just love the color work. I'm a bit sad that I'm done with the color work section. So there's that. And I'm sorry about the lighting. It is very quickly getting dark. Again, it's winter. So one of the really cool things about this sweater is you actually start right around the armpit and you work up to the neck. Then you pick back up under the colorwork yoke and you work down. I decided to do waist shaping on this sweater thanks to the influence of a friend of mine. I don't commonly do waist shaping, but I decided that it would be nice to have a sweater that was a little bit more fitted, just looked a little bit more formal. And I know some of you were like, sweaters aren't formal. It's formal wear in my wardrobe. So yeah, there's that. As far as the colors, the main color here is Color Mart. It's Color Mart wool in a 4-ply weight. I do not know the exact yarn that it was. It came on a mystery cone with very minimal labeling. Actually 3 mystery cones of the same colorway and the same dye lot with minimal information. As for the colorwork sections, the light gray is Elemental Effects, the Shetland fingering in Musket. The navy is Elemental Effects, Shetland fingering in Dark Periwinkle. And this lovely green is Holzgarn Super Soft in the Cloverleaf colorway. So that's exciting. This is the sweater that I cast on as a birthday present project to myself last year. I would like to have it done by my birthday this coming year. We'll see how that pans out. Alright, again, I have a lot more works in progress than what I have just shown you. But for the sake of time, as well as the fact that a lot of them are hidden very well, I only showed you the ones that I am currently actively knitting on. I have worked on each of these projects within the last 24 hours. But these are also the only projects that I've been working on for the past several weeks. I am toying with the idea of doing a bonus episode where I pull all of my works in progress that I can find out and go through each and every one of them on screen. It would be both for the purpose of motivating myself to finish these projects rather than starting even more projects, but also for the laughs. I have a hilariously ridiculous number of works in progress. I'm sure some of you can relate, but I also know that some of you can't. So we need to laugh sometimes, and that would be a good thing to laugh at. If you would be interested in seeing that bonus episode, please put a comment below saying so. I would love to know if there would actually be any sort of demand for that. Now on to 2020 podcast plans. I had mentioned in my first podcast episode that I was intending to podcast twice a month about a variety of topics. Due to the limitations of my health at this point, that's not quite reasonable. I can commit to once a month. So I am committing to a podcast once a month. Also, for reasons related to my health, I am not currently able to go hiking or snowshoeing. I am planning on focusing on yarn-related content until such a time as I am healthy enough to go and do those things. Thank you all for your understanding and patience in waiting for a new episode and other content from me while I get my health together. I am planning on releasing episodes the second week of every month. That is my aim, and I will keep you updated if that doesn't work for whatever reason. 2020 tea and trinket plans. I had let my listings expire on Etsy until such a time as I was able to put more effort into the shop. With the new year, I'm working again towards making tea and trinket work. Now I'm working on it with more available time and resources. So this coming Friday, January 10th at 10, no, this coming Friday, January 10th at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be putting all of my current inventory back into the Etsy shop. And next week, I will be working to finish dyeing all the current undyed inventory I have and finish work on stitch markers. Yes, I will have stitch markers in my next shop update, not on the 10th, but the following one. Depending on my photographer's schedule, the shop update should coincide with the week of my next podcast. So around the second week in February, I should have new yarn and stitch markers up in the shop. After that, I will be working on entirely restocking my nest base. Now, my nest base is my 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon sock weight yarn base. It's the first base that I had, and I will be restocking all the original colorways as well as colors that have until now only been available on my compass base. The Tea and Trinket Instagram should start seeing weekly posts on Wednesdays. These posts will include behind-the-scenes photos as well as information and updates for both the shop and the podcast. Finally, I have begun work on pattern design. I have been wanting to design knitwear basically since I started knitting. I very soon got off pattern when I first started knitting, and it has only led to more and more pattern development, but not necessarily design and actually writing that out. This year I'm planning on getting that kicked off, and I am going to be putting out test knitter requests when those become more polished, more finished. Updates for the designs as well as test knitting opportunities will be posted on the Instagram for Tea and Trinket. As for the rest of my 2020 plans, those will be revealed in time. I'm sure this will be a longer episode even after editing, just because I had so much to talk about since seeing you in September. So for all who made it all the way to the end, thank you very much, especially to you. But thank you everyone for watching Tea and Trinket Podcast's second episode. I will see you all next time. Have a lovely day.